Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Shadow and Sun Show, and welcome to more Sumerian September. Thank you to all the new subscribers. I've actually been really surprised at the response and responses that we've been getting to all the stuff we've been doing, and it's only like the third of the month or something like that. I don't look at calendars anymore. So I just finished Tower of the Elephant by Robert E.Howard, and I was really kind of puzzled and weirdly excited about a certain part of this story. For those of you who don't know, or it's been a while, a very young Conan. I'm going from the Coming of Conan, as you saw. This is one of my copies. And I'm guessing that these stories in this book, this 1953 Gnome Press, I think it is, edition, Gnome Press, is putting them in chronological order as opposed to starting with the Phoenix on the Sword, which was the very first, you guys know the thing. So, a very young Conan, I believe he's in Zamora, I could be wrong on that, but he's trying his hand at a bit of thievery and hanging out in a tavern with, some other scoundrels, and they get to talking about this Tower of the Elephant, this fabled wizard's tower that stood for over 300 years, and nobody can get in, nobody can get out, except the guards and the wizard who comes out only to do some mischief. And Conan says, what the hell? There's supposed to be a big giant gem in the tower, the stone or the gem of the elephant, and not really knowing what an elephant is, which is also amusing. Besides, you know what? I'm gonna try and steal it. And so he, of course, gets in there, does the things, and then is confronted with a very strange character. I'm just going to say that. A humanoid man-like being with the head of an elephant that's been blinded, so it can't escape, and has been tortured, and just a miserable beast. And then Conan discovers him, and they get to talking, and then I'm going to read to you what this entity says, so we can then go over my premise in the title of this video. Bear with me, I gotta put the old man glasses on, and excuse me if I mess this up, but I'm gonna do my best. "Oh man, listen," said the strange being. "I am foul and monstrous to you, am I not?" "Nay, do not answer. I know, but you would seem as strange to me could I see you. There are many worlds besides this earth, and life takes many shapes. I am neither god nor demon, but flesh and blood like yourself, though the substance differ in part, and the form be cast in a different mold. I am very old, O man of the waste countries. Long, long ago I came to this planet with others of my world from the planet Yag, which circles forever in the outer fringe of this universe. We swept through space on mighty wings that drove us through the cosmos quicker than light." Interesting. "Because we had warred with the kings of Yag and were defeated and outcasts. But we could never return, for on earth our wings withered from our shoulders. Here we abode apart from earthly life. We fought the strange and terrible forms of life which then walked the earth, so that we became feared and were not molested in the dim jungles of the east, where we had our abode. We saw men grow from the ape and building the shining cities of Eleusia, Camellia, Comoria, and their sisters. We saw them reel before the thrusts of the heathen Atlantids and Picts and Lemurians. We saw the oceans rise in the Gulf and engulf Atlantis, and Lemuria, and the isles of the Picts, and the shining cities of civilization. We saw the survivors of Pictum and Atlantis build their Stone Age empires and go down to ruin. Locked in bloody wars, we saw the Picts sink into abysmal savagery, the Atlanteans into apedom. Again, we saw new savages drift southward in conquering waves from the Arctic Circle to build new civilizations with new kingdoms called Demedia and Koth and Aquilonia and their sisters. We saw your people rise under a new name from the jungles of the apes that had been Atlanteans. We saw the descendants of the Lemurians who had survived the cataclysm rise again through savagery and ride westward as Hyrcanians. And we saw this race of devils, survivors of the ancient civilization that was before Atlantis sank, come once more into culture and power, this accursed kingdom of Zamora. I think you get the gist there. This guy is old, from outer space, lived on our Earth, or Conan's world, so long that his wings withered away from lack of use. That would be like your left arm just falling off from just non-usage, or your pinky toes. You would have to live so bloody long for something like that to happen. Obviously, he goes through the ages that, he was around when the dinosaurs were around and watched the continents sink and rise and fall, and the races, devolve from human to ape, back to human again, only to be trapped by the evil wizard and forced to do unspeakable, terrible things to his dog with a fork. Sorry, couldn't resist myself. And there Conan meets him. Now, I know my friend Bo is going to say, well, no, it's just cosmic horror, science fantasy, but does it have to be? Could it be both? Could it be science fiction? Could you write this in your novel that you're, great American novel that you're writing, or your short story, or your game module or adventure? Could you pluck this and throw those elephant-headed beings on to the Enterprise as just another race of beings? Obviously, with some of the things that happen later that delve into actual sorcery, kind of leans toward it being just cosmic horror. But cosmic horror doesn't always have to be, involved with sorcery. And science fiction, as we've seen in so many stories in the past, can involve magic, sorcery, psychic powers, the Force, what have you. But for me, it was amazing because, mind you, he wrote this in the 30s, the late 20s. I could look it up, but you're all Howard fans out there that are watching this. That's some pretty heady stuff for that era. Obviously, Edgar Rice Burroughs had written John Carter of Mars way before this, and Jules Verne, etc. But even for the 30s, I wasn't there, although some people think I was. It strikes me as that it could be both. It could be a mixture. It could be one or the other. What would you classify this as? I know with his deep and abiding friendship with H.P. Lovecraft, you're probably going to lean toward the cosmic horror, but I don't know. Maybe there's some room for this to have been a science fiction story, as opposed to not hard science fiction, of course, but at least science fantasy. I don't know. It just struck me as beyond what I was expecting. I've read Conan many times, but it's actually, to be honest, been a while since I read this story and this book. To have really thought about it when I was younger, but now that I'm getting older, and nothing compared to our elephant friend here, but it's a very interesting edition, especially if you think about this as the first Conan chronological story, leading to more and more cosmic horror or sci-fi or what have you, sword and sorcery. It really sets the tone for many of the things that are going to come. Obviously, there have been so many other writers who've grabbed these ideas and ran with them and told us many other stories over the years. I'm starting to rethink a lot of my opinions of Conan and Robert E. Howard's writings. I am looking forward to getting to the big book I showed off Monday and seeing some of the other things, and I'm believe it or not, I'm going through this book and that book to see If they're, word for word identical. His usage of the word frostily 3 times in 30 or 40 pages was kind of irksome, but, you know, there's a whole bunch of other words we could, probably pick, but I've really never heard that word frostily before. It just seemed kind of, just hit my ear weird, as Meg Griffin would say, and I thought I would bring it up just because it was annoying. But let me know what you think in the comment section below. I will be getting to the next story, The God in the Bowl, probably, let's see, today's Wednesday now. Thursday I have a bunch of stuff going on, so it will probably be my Friday story that I'll talk about before I leave you guys for the weekend to do other stuff. But until then, grab some Robert E. Howard. It is Sumerian September, so let's do this right. I know a lot of you guys have already done your version of this, but honestly, this is the first I was hearing about it. Maybe I heard about it last year, but I didn't really do anything about it. But this month I'm going to do it right. Before I go, I'm going to show you a little progress on my 52 millimeter Conan figure from Heritage Models back in the day. The face is a little not as Conan as I would like, but everything else, with the hair, etc. It definitely screams Conan to me. So have yourselves a great weekend. Go out there and get savage, not on anybody in particular. Just read some Conan, read some Savage Sword of Conan, read some Conan comic books. Heck, even read the Lynn Carter L. Sprague de Camp if you can't get anything else. I am going to talk about those later this month because that's, for me, I thought that was Conan, but I guess not. So have a great week, and as always, happy trails.